Hi guys, it's Lucy and welcome back to another video. Today I'm joined with Emily again. We're not doing a most likely to this time. We are going
I think everyone's probably bored of that.
Yeah. We are going to compare our university experiences. So Emily has now graduated. So Emily has just graduated from the University of Lincoln. I don't know what degree you did, so you need to say that.
Okay, I did animal behaviour and welfare.
That's it, because I would have said management. And I'm currently in my second year doing paramedic science. I nearly forgot my degree then.
Oh wow.
So we're just going to compare a few bits. I've written a few bits down and just look at the differences. We've both done science degrees, or I'm doing. So yeah, just looking at the differences in the unis basically, and yeah. The topic we're going to talk about is freshers and freshers week, freshers fairs, because obviously this is the first thing you do when you start university. Personally,
first day.
Yeah, personally I've got no experience of this whatsoever. My uni's a separate campus, it had no freshers fair. Hi guys, so you're probably going to see me pop up in this video quite a lot. I am just editing this video and I feel like I haven't explained myself properly in any of this video, so you'll probably see me pop up quite a bit. So on the topic of freshers, basically I didn't explain this at all. We basically move in to accommodation on the Saturday or Sunday, and then we're straight into uni first lecture on the Monday, and it's because we are on an extended degree, an extended course. Later on in the video I mentioned holidays and stuff, but we get a lack of holiday. Not a bad thing in the slightest, but it's because the course is so intense that we can't physically give a week up to do Freshers Week. So Freshers kind of is incorporated into the first week of uni if people want to do it, but they plan it all themselves basically, and yeah, organise themselves just because our course is intense. Also, freshers fairs, they are available to us, just not at our campus. I don't know if I made that clear. They're available at the other campus as part of my uni, so we can go to them if we want to, but personally my first year I didn't, and yeah. Yeah, yours is very different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like massive, like freshers fairs. Like, shall I talk about it?
Yeah.
So like it'd be over like 2 days in the massive like engine shed on my campus at university, and one day you'll have like societies fairs, and then you'll have sports fairs, and then you'll also have like a normal like main one with like discounts for stuff like Domino's and things like that.
I got nothing like that. Never been invited into a society at all. I did badminton club, but it wasn't really a society. I think if I was on the main campus it'd be more emphasis on it, but we have to travel 35-40 minutes down the road to do anything, so we don't really do Freshers Week. Freshers, we had to organise it ourselves, January students do, there's no like talk of it for January students. Yeah, I mean people do go out, I'm just not a big drinker so I didn't go out for Freshers at all. I suppose you have Freshers every year though, don't you? It's just not as big in your as your
No, like
first
after
year.
first year it kind of like novelty was off, kind of, yeah. Well, it depends what kind of person you are, really.
Did you do any societies or whatever in first year?
I didn't do it in first year. Second year I did swimming society.
Yeah, so no, I've done nothing like that. Is that it for is that everything that you... Right, moving on to holidays. Now I've made this a big thing on my channel that I literally get no holiday at all. Much holiday do you get over a year?
So I'd have, depending if you have exams in January, usually you have 6 weeks off at Christmas, but because I had exams every January it would be like 3 weeks-ish, but most of the time I had to go back to work at Lincoln. True. So, and then I would have 2 reading weeks a year, so say one in October or November and one in February or March of that academic year, and then also you'd have 2 weeks at Easter, and then you'd break up at the end of May for the year.
May?
So you'd have like a 4-month summer holidays.
Oh my god. So to start with, I get no reading week. Holidays, timetabled in, we get 7 weeks holiday. in a year. So that's less than you get in your summer. But obviously I get days off with my shifts when I'm on placement, but I mean it's still not enough. Christmas, so technically we get 2 weeks off at Easter, 3 weeks in the summer, then 2 weeks at Christmas. But because of my course, I'm a January student, I get elective placement at the end of the year at Christmas, which gives me a longer Christmas. Definitely different.
Yeah, I'd say mine's better.
Hi, it's me again. So on the topic of holidays, I actually prefer just having the 7 weeks off in a year. I find with longer holidays, even the 6 weeks holidays we used to get when we were at school, you kind of just run out of things to do. So by having the 7 weeks, you make the most of the time you've got. So in the summer last year, I jam-packed as much as I could. And yeah, I didn't have time to sit around and do nothing. I just did what I wanted to do, and yes. So the next thing is exams. Do you have any practical exams?
Yeah, like I'd have all my lab exams, like some of the coursework would be lab related.
So you have to do an experiment and then it gets...
Yeah, like you do this like, depends what kind of like top module it was. So like you'd be given like an exam. So one of my, like for example, one of my lab exams was animal identification under a microscope. And you had to go around each microscope, you'd have 5 minutes to identify what animal it was under the microscope. I think it was animal, but it was a freshwater animal under a microscope.
My practicals on the other hand, oh well, the dummy in the middle of the floor, treat it.
That's fun.
Actually no, what other practical exams do I have? So we get, at the end of last year I had 2 exams where one was an ECG exam and one was a Viva Voce. Have you ever heard what Viva Voce is?
No.
So Viva Voce, we have to basically, we're given a scenario and we have to speak the whole scenario through, and it's just you and a lecturer. That's all it like. And they're filming you as well, which makes it even more awkward. I basically have to talk through introductions to literally, do I take the patient? I don't know if we got this far in it, but do we take the patient to hospital, leave them at home? I think we had to look at different bits like that as well. And then we had an ECG exam where we were say what they were and why they were that. So I suppose that's practical as well.
Yeah.
But then we have written. How many written exams did you have?
Depending on what year it was. One year I had like 8 in total, so 4 in January, 4 in May.
I feel like we have less exams.
But then it depends what module it was, because in final year I only had 2 exams in May and that was it, and then there are 4 in January, so it depends whether the module contains an exam or all coursework.
That's true, yeah, because we have essays a lot.
In 3rd year for my dissertation, my coursework alongside my dissertation was that poster as well. Yeah. I had to present a poster to do with my whole dissertation.
I hope I don't have to do something like that.
Most science degrees have to, Luce.
Oh
god. But like coursework,
you
it
did
varies.
That video.
How much? What video? Oh yeah. So in my final year, I also made a video talking through like a topic of my choice. And
right, moving on to accommodation. I think I started talking about this and then stopped, so I'll probably edit that out. But accommodation. So to begin with, I am in 2nd year and I'm still in student accommodation, whereas Emily decided in her 2nd and 3rd year she'd be in a house.
Yeah.
What's the first difference you noticed when you walked into my accommodation? Because I never went to Emily's accommodation in 1st year.
I'd say mine's more modern. So in 1st year I lived in Park Court, which is an off-campus accommodation, but it's certified by the university. And I
didn't even know that.
I lived on like the 4th floor because it's 5 stories up and above. There's like a...
See, that's the difference, isn't it?
Well, it had 5 stories, but then it also had loft space as well for some, like, if you pay more. And they were like better rooms. And the main difference I noticed between mine and your accommodation is mine was more modern, like the kitchen.
Yeah.
For one. Do you have a common room?
No common
like
room.
We had a common room for like you could go downstairs and there'd be like, I think there was a pool table from what I remember.
Yeah, nothing like that.
And also we had lifts obviously because I needed to go 4 floors up.
And
there was parking if your parents needed to come and they could get a ticket from the office so they could park at your accommodation while they came to visit.
People just park on ours anyway because it's a sports complex as well. Yeah, and my accommodation is really run down, but I must say, it's properly built. It's not been rushed to build.
It's not like all these new ones with like cladding all over and stuff.
You had an ensuite, didn't you? I've got although I've got a wet room.
Mine was like full on shower, toilet, sink.
How many people did you share with?
I shared with 4 other people, including myself.
Oh, okay. Because
and then 4 other people, and then 5 of us all together. So I shared with mixed. So I had 2 guys and 2 girls in my accommodation with me.
You see, because I requested mixed both years, and I've had all girls both years.
But then obviously in 2nd and 3rd year, I chose who I lived with.
Yeah, that's true. So. But what was I going to say? Because a lot of unis, they have 8 or 9 people in a flat, don't they? Whereas I'm the same, I've got 4 or 5. I think
one of the accommodations at university, the brand new one, mine, has about sharing with 10 people. So you have 5 bedrooms on one side, 5 on the other, and you share the kitchen together.
God.
So 10 people share. But they had TVs and a sofa and all that.
Oh, we've got a TV and sofa actually in our kitchen. Did you not have that?
No, I didn't have a TV.
So in comparison to my sister's accommodation, we had no lift. But I think the main thing to talk about is only healthcare students live in my accommodation, whereas my sister's accommodation was very mixed. So yeah, I lived with student paramedics in my first year and student nurses in my second year. So that's obviously a massive difference. And yeah. Moving on, labs. So we both talk about labs, but we both have very different labs.
Yeah.
So yours is very sciencey.
Yeah, microscopes and chemicals and all that.
Whereas ours is a skills lab, so it's got mannequins, machines, beds. What else do we have? We've got an ambulance. Although that's not in the skills lab, but it's linked to it. How many labs do you did you work in?
To be fair, we have one main lab on campus.
Yeah.
That's 3 stories or 4 stories high, and depending on each level's got different ones. So depending on what you need to do for each of those labs days, there's a different room for those, because there's labs that need chemicals that you can't take out of the lab because of spreading viruses and bacteria and all that. I think from what I understand, so you have to wear specific. I can't even say that word.
I think you said it right.
You have to wear those lab coats designated to that lab, and you have to keep them in the lab. Because I had my own lab coat given to me and goggles, but I wasn't allowed to wear them for that because I would be taking my lab coat home and spreading stuff.
That's true. You see, because we have to wear our uniform in labs, but you had goggles and jacket.
But then also there's another labs on a campus as well called Joseph Banks Laboratories. But that's also where my school would be. It's inside the school, because we had to set labs further away, and we had to walk to the other side of campus to get to them. But I never used any of those because I didn't need them for my dissertation or anything. Because they're you have to have access to them. Because I had a fob key to get into the labs, but they were for the labs on campus. So there's 2 different types of labs, from what I understand.
So we've got we've got 3 main labs, but then you've also got nursing labs which we use occasionally. We've got the midwife labs. And then finally, to finish it up, because this video is very, very long, 18 minutes. I do placement, you do fieldwork. Okay. How much fieldwork did you do?
So I had some of my modules needed to go off campus to Rise Home to do some research there for some of them, which is about a 20-minute drive from campus. But then I also had 2 field trips, one in first year to Malham in North Yorkshire, Northwest Yorkshire, I think. Then I had Boggle Hole, and these all fell on my birthday every year. But they were good field trips. Well, I got very sunburned.
How long was it? A week?
Malham was a week, Monday to Friday, and then my other field trip was Friday to Tuesday.
So not too bad.
Yeah.
Whereas my placement is about 3 months each year. No, it'd be 6 months in the second year, roughly. Yeah, maybe more than that, I don't know. But yeah, I think that we've covered quite a bit in that. If you've got any questions, leave them down below, and we'll do our best to answer them. Maybe I'll get Emily to comment as well. If there's any questions for you.
If anyone wants to go to the University of Lincoln, would recommend. It's gold standards or whatever you call it.
So yeah, I will thank you, Emily, for being in the video, and I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye guys.